Thank you, Brian. Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Fort Collins. We have Elly's entourage here with us today. Our own Elly Darwin is the speaker today, and her books are lined up over there if you get inspired and would like to support her or need to have one of those books. Please, you're welcome to them. And Elly says she tithes back to the church, so it's from the book sales. Great. Well, normally we ask who's new to Unity of Fort Collins, and I'm going to do that, but if you raise your hand, if you wave your hand, our welcome folks will put a welcome packet in it. So if you just want to say you're new, that's good. If you wave your hand, a packet will go in it. So, newcomers, raise your hand. Anybody want a welcome packet? Okay, Courtney, wonderful. Awesome. Well, we have a lovely service planned today, which is the service after Thanksgiving, where we all kind of go, one down. That's in the holiday season. We had 2 Thanksgiving dinners, and I was much more restrained on the second one. So we had a dinner with my son's girlfriend's parents, whom we met for the first time, and we were all anticipating a big announcement, which didn't happen. So Roberts called them the outlaws because they're not quite the in-laws. But I think it's coming. It just didn't happen quite yet. We had an amazing variety show here on the day after Thanksgiving, and we heard that Alice was a hoot. So I asked Alice if she would come up and just lead us in a minute of laughter so we can all share in the fun.
Well, you just laugh for no reason. So this seemed to be the favorite of everybody because I look so ugly between laughs. So we're just going to put our arms up and do the clamshell. So when it's open, you laugh, and when it's closed, you don't laugh. So ready? Go. Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay!
Wow, what just happened? Yay, that's awesome. We have a couple of announcements today. We are headed into the Christmas season, and Lil's going to pass around the caroling information. And do you want to do a quick announcement about that?
We're going to go to Red Tail Ponds again this year. We skipped a couple years, you know why. And it's a place where people have been previously homeless. And so they've got places to live. They have their own little apartments, and we bring some Christmas cheer to them by song, and we bring a little goodies, and then afterwards we invite people over to mine and Gerald's home. So we'll carol there. Yeah, and even if you don't sing, that's okay because we're all good. So I'll pass us around, and we want to get numbers because we don't want to have it crazy there. So, and then I'll give you more information after you sign your name and give me your email address. Thanks.
Oh, do you want to do the holiday book fair too while you're there?
I don't know about that. But we're having movie night this Friday night, and It's about a lady who runs a marathon, and it's supposed to be funny and inspiring, so it might get you ready for the new year.
Thank you. Is Leanne here? No. Do you want to do it?
This is a double announcement. That's why I'm wearing a mask. Starting next Sunday, we will be beginning our donate. We can't call it matching funds. That's not legal, I guess. So our donation in kind. We will have a few large donors that ends up being from 10 to 20,000, and the rest of us will try to donate in kind between now and the first of the year. Wonderful time to get your tax deductions in order. And so that will begin next week. So I'm putting you all on notice, large donors and small. I'll be calling. So that will begin on the 4th.
What's your second one?
That was my second one. Large donors and small.
On December 11th, we'll have a holiday, our traditional craft bake sale, and Janice is adding books. Janice, Ballard, our council secretary and librarian, will be helping to host a book sale. So look forward to December 11th. All right. The rest of the announcements and calendar are in your program. And I think we'll let that be good for the business of the day. Welcome to folks online. Thanks. Let's join in our unity blessing. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world.
If you're comfortable doing so, I'd ask everybody to stand and turn to your neighbor and say, "I'm ready for another piece of pumpkin pie." And if you would,
There's a lot of pumpkin pie.
and if you would, join us in singing this song.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How could deeply you're connected to my soul? How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
One more time.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. how deeply you're connected to my soul.
You can be seated. Thank you.
Good morning. Well, I have to tell everybody I have absolutely fallen in love. So I met a new poet. I found a new poet. And the reading this morning comes from her work. Her name is Jennifer Wellwood. And she may be 95 years old, who knows. But anyway, she's new to me. And I've really enjoyed it. This piece is called Unconditional. Willing to experience aloneness, I discover connection everywhere. Turning my face to fear, I meet the warrior who lives within me. Opening to my loss, I gain the embrace of the universe. Surrendering into emptiness, I find fulfillment without end. Each condition I flee from pursues me. Each condition I welcome transforms me and becomes itself transformed into its radiant, jewel-like essence. I bow to the one who has made it so, who has crafted this master game. To play it is purest delight. To honor its form, true devotion.
A few weeks ago, my friend Joya sang this next song as a solo, and I thought, you know, during Thanksgiving week is a time we can appreciate a lot of things, but one of the things we can definitely appreciate is what a wonderful world it is, and so Holly and I are going to ask everyone, if you're comfortable, to help us sing it.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I want them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I hear babies cry. The bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. See friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow, and I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Oh, wow. The view from here is awesome. Look at you all. I have to say, I just noticed in the program that I was given a elevated title that never had before. Somebody called me Reverend Elly Darwin. The only divinity school I've been to is the School of Hard Knocks. So. Yeah, it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Some of us are polishing off the last of the casseroles. Some of you mentioned out there you're getting a little tired of turkey sandwiches. Some of us are getting geared up to go back to work or maybe still reminiscing about the holiday. Those of you who are not here might be returning from a trip or perhaps seeing relatives off at the airport. And if that's the case, you just might be giving thanks with that old Roy Clark song. Thank God and Greyhound, you're gone. Thank God and United Airlines. What's your heart saying? That question changed my life because listening to your heart opens the door to your true self, your highest self, your empowerment, and most importantly, to God's love. I used to be allergic to God. Yeah, allergic. At the very mention of God, I would break out into a rash of sarcasm. God's love was always there, of course, and my heart was always speaking, but I had cut myself off from all that. All my fear-based thoughts and words and actions were from the clavicle up. It's like every time my heart spoke, my response was, la, 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 la. What's your heart saying? Until that question was posed to me by my first therapist, I had never listened to my heart. I never even realized my heart had a voice. Well, I kind of knew it in the way that your true self knows, but I learned very early on in life that my heart didn't count. It didn't have a say. And if I knew what was good for me in the threatening sense, I'd better just keep that voice locked up. Long story short, learning to be totally clear with my heart, really listening to my heart without any overlay from my head, and acting on my heart's messages is why Clear Heart is the name of my business, my website, the title of my book, and my personal mission in life. Now, once I started to incorporate Clear Heart into my entire being, was everything peachy keen? Were all the people I interacted with wonderful, heart-centered folks who, like me, were on a spiritual path? Well, some of them were, because that's what I began to feel inside. That's what I began to radiate outwards. And then that's what I began to attract to myself in kind. But then there were those certain others who were just harmful or mean-spirited or hurtful or just in some way or another were just a plain old pain in the patooski. Those are the ones I want to talk about. Because they're out there, they're among us, and they can pull us away from our higher purpose if we let them. I loved Reverend Jim's talk a few weeks ago about thoughts being angels or vice versa. I believe that angels are messengers from Spirit. We get a wonderful thought, an idea, and that's from Spirit. And we act on it and share it with the world. As a matter of fact, that's how my book was written, how the idea for my website came to me, from Spirit, originally as thoughts and ideas. And I acted upon those, and those thoughts became things. But I believe that God also sends us angels to wake us up or tell us it's time to grow. I've learned that not all spiritual messengers are cute little cherubs, and not all spiritual lessons are fun. Some of these angels come in the form of difficult circumstances or difficult people. And in these situations, I've found that the best way to deal with them is to listen to my heart. And by the way, God, heart, angel, spirit, messengers, true self, higher power, they're all on the same team. See, here's the deal with our head and our heart. The head can mess with us all day long, but the heart doesn't lie. The head is the command center for all manner of thoughts, including dysfunctional ones. And it can choose which thoughts we're going to focus on and which thoughts we're going to act upon. Our head can also trap us into fear-based thinking. It can trigger anger and hatred and aggression. It can tell us to hit them back harder, fight fire with fire, win at any cost. And we can also turn that anger inward to ourselves with all kinds of self-ridicule and destructive behavior. But that's all fear-based stuff. And any time we buy into fear-based thoughts and actions, we're cutting ourselves off from God's love. But the heart is our God space. And therefore, it knows only love. Our heart only builds up. It never shuns or ridicules or beats us up or puts us down. Our heart provides the right answer at the right moment. It encourages us in the right direction and shows us the way. And last but not least, our heart fills us with love and joy. So it's important to listen to our heart, but you might wonder, okay, how do I do that? Not complicated. First of all, be quiet. Former President Lyndon Johnson said, "I ain't learning when I'm talking." So put yourself in a quiet space and allow your heart to speak. Some of my best thoughts and ideas come to me maybe in the quiet time and space in the shower, or out working in the yard, or taking the dog for a walk. Second, be willing, but hold no expectations. Don't orchestrate or manage anything. That's all head stuff. Just simply be willing. And then accept what comes, even if it's nothing. Who knows, your heart's messages might just lie in the nothingness. So be patient. Accept that what your heart says may not be what your head is saying. Maybe your heart is saying, go for it. Maybe your heart is saying, stay the course. Maybe it's saying time to look for another job, or another career, or even another place to live. Maybe your heart is saying, make different plans next Thanksgiving. Accept that what your heart communicates to you may not seem like the easiest solution, but have faith that it's the right one. And accept that difficult people or difficult circumstances are also angels, prompting you to go within, to grow in love, and to become a better person. It's interesting that the first two things I set out, be quiet, be willing, are self-initiated. And the other all began with the word accept. Took a lot of therapy, but learning to listen to my heart was the best thing that ever happened to me. And here's what I've found. Cost me a lot of therapy money. I'll give it to you guys for free. If I truly listen and truly trust what my heart is telling me, I not only learn and grow in love, but things have a way of working out. Not always the way I envisioned or planned, but they do work out. Let me give you a little example. My husband and I were living in Louisiana, and for the first couple of years we were renting an apartment. Wasn't fancy, it was pretty basic, but it was okay until she moved in. And I can see my husband here cringing. at the memory of it. It was a fourplex. There were 2 upstairs, 2 downstairs. We lived in one of the downstairs units. There was a little alcove with a staircase going up and a walkway going over to the other apartment upstairs. We lived downstairs, and our front door and the other downstairs unit were facing each other under that walkway. Now, for starters, to say this woman smelled bad is an understatement. She was a very heavy smoker, and it was obvious that she was not at all fond of showers. Not only that, southern Louisiana is humid about 364 days a year, and that humidity just held her stinky air under that walkway. So anytime we opened our door, that's what we were greeted with. Not only that, she was loud, and she was always arguing with her teenage daughter and adult son who lived with her. Not only that, she was always coming over almost every day. No big deal. She wanted to borrow a kitchen utensil or something like that. But every time she came over, her stink came with her. Not only that, she didn't knock on the door. She pounded on the door. It's a 700 square foot apartment. We can hear you. As you can imagine, we were getting pretty frustrated with her. No more than the time one morning when the power went out early in the morning in winter, and it was unseasonably cold. Bam, bam, bam on our door. Y'all got lights? No, no one has lights. Go back home, close the door. We considered moving, but at that time, our daughter was going to a very expensive law school, so we needed to stay put, keep our expenses low. I felt angry and trapped. So later that night, I got quiet. Quite certain that she was the problem, I was surprised to find myself asking my heart what I needed to learn. The answer came back immediately and with astounding clarity. Get off your high horse. Get off your high horse, Elly. In that instant, my whole being shifted from anger and frustration to love and compassion. I realized that, like me, she was a child of God. She had not been blessed with much education or social graces. She was not in good health. She had apparently not experienced very much love in her life, and she was obviously not very happy. What she was a child of God. And who was I to devote my thoughts to judging her? I decided right in that moment to change. I forgave her for all her annoyances, and there were many. And I forgave myself for my attitude towards her, for I had certainly misjudged who she was. And I made a conscious decision that from that point on, my only thoughts of her would be of love and compassion. And you know, a funny thing happened. She never came over after that, and 2 weeks later she moved. I always figured somebody across town needed to learn that same lesson, so God sent her over there. As spiritual beings having a human experience, we're always given the opportunity for learning and for growing. As we go through life, we may miss some opportunities or make mistakes, as I certainly had with her. By being judgmental, I misjudged who she was. But we all make mistakes, and when we make a mistake, we always have the opportunity to learn from it. Sometimes we learn well, sometimes we don't, but we can always learn if we're open to the opportunities that God presents us, even when those opportunities aren't pretty or don't smell good. Have you ever smelled a natural gas leak? Maybe your heater has a little problem or something and you get that nauseous whiff. You probably know that natural gas is odorless. The odor is infused into it so that when it leaks, we're immediately alerted to the danger. That odor is telling us something. I think that's how some of our least favorite angels operate. They bring their noxious personalities into our midst to teach us something. Some years back, I went through a terrible crisis. I worked for not only the worst boss I'd ever had, but the worst person I'd ever known, and I've known some doozies. The experience rattled me to my core, and it left me pretty much emotionally and spiritually destroyed for a while. In the long process of putting myself back together, a profound healing thought came to me, so much so that to this day I could point out the precise spot on the pavement where I was when that thought hit me. People who are not on a spiritual path serve as teaching devices for those who are. People who are not on a spiritual path, and I mean consciously because basically we all are, serve as teaching devices for those who are. I wrote an article about the valuable life lessons I learned from that experience. It's called Horrible People as Teachers, 10 Powerful Lessons for Personal Growth. It's on my website, and by the way, I've got cards for my website out there on the table by my book. We're all in the right place at the right time for what we need to learn. That experience was absolutely awful and one I'll never forget, but that person was a powerful teaching device. After I quit working for her, I suddenly had a lot of time on my hands, and that was bad in a way because I did dwell on that experience a lot. But it was also a good thing because it also gave me the opportunity to really, really work on healing myself. I was so devastated and so angry. But one thing I knew I had to get past was emotionally trying to fight fire with fire. If I continued to be angry, however justified my anger was, I was allowing her to pull me off my spiritual path. And I knew from experience there's no peace in that. Part of my healing experience after that process was that anytime I found myself hating her or even having the least thought about her that was pulling me away from love, I promised myself that I would immediately read from A Course in Miracles. Why A Course in Miracles? I don't know. But my heart was telling me that that's what I needed to do. And no matter what particular text I happened to read, the overarching thought that called out to me was that everything we do is either an act of love or a cry for love. And I would go within my heart and I would realize that she was the most loved, starved person I had ever known. And in my prayers, I would send her love, knowing she's a child of God who suffers terribly every day. Now, it didn't make her go away like my neighbor did. I was the one looking for a new job, not her. But like that Clint Black song about a breakup, he sang, "I'm leaving here a better man, knowing you this way." In my case, knowing her as a child of God. Things I couldn't do before, now I know I can, because I'm leaving here a better man. She just kept on doing her thing, but I came away a better person. The Buddhists say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And we may not always realize that we're ready. Angels are unlimited, and they may appear in the least expected form. But ultimately, they speak through our heart for our highest good. So if you don't get anything else from this talk, let me say it once again. If you're willing to go within your heart and be clear with your heart, to truly listen to your heart and be willing to take those heart messages back out into your sentient existence, you cannot help but radiate God's love in all that you do. God's love within me honors and appreciates God's love in all of you. Namaste.
Our thoughts are prayers. Know that God is everywhere.
I invite you now to just relax. Maybe if your legs or arms are crossed, you might want to uncross them a little bit. Just release that chi energy in yourself. And know that God is not only all around us, but God is within us. Take a moment now and just imagine God's love. You might think of it as maybe a little light or a little warm glow. And just focus God's love right up at the top of your head. And know that God's love is unlimited, and just allow that love to expand down into your head, relaxing your forehead, letting your eyes be comfortable, whether they're closed or softly focused, whichever works better for you. And allow God's love and warmth and glow to expand all through your head, down into your jaw, relax your jaw, down into your throat, relax any tightness that might be there. And just picture God's warming love expanding down into your shoulders, relaxing your shoulders. And picture God's love moving down to your heart and encircling and enfolding your heart and filling your heart with love and joy. And just feel that love and joy in your heart. And now, knowing that God's love is unlimited, allow God's love to expand out to others around you. Allow God's love to fill this room with love and joy and peace. And imagine God's love overflowing and going out to all others in this community and further out all around the world. And just send God's love out into the world with no thought about how that might be received. It's not important. Just feel your love coming from your heart, the love of God going out into the world. And as you feel comfortable, bring your awareness back into this room, in this lovely place. And when you're comfortable, open your eyes, refocus your eyes, and be with us here.
May the blessing of God rest upon me. May the blessing upon us. May his peace abide in us. May his presence illuminate our hearts now and forever. Now and forever.
Well, thank you, Reverend Elly. You really exude God's love, and thank you for your message. Thank you. And the rest of you here, we trust that you've found a place where you can experience God's love, because it's here. It's in every one of you. And so in this time, it's now time for our offering, so we'd like to ask the ushers to come forward. And I invite you on this Thanksgiving weekend to take that offering and bring it to your heart. Just bring it to your heart. And just be thankful. Just be thankful that we're all able to give as we've been giving. So together, our offering blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Because my family lives out of state and my dog had a stroke in September, I wasn't able to see them at Thanksgiving and may not be able to at Christmas. So when I was considering the music for this week, I thought, I haven't written sort of a tone poem song in a while, but I am thankful in my heart for so many things, friends and blessings and other things. So this is just a short little tone poem called Thankful in My Heart.
Well, thank you, Brian Young. Thank you for blessing us each and every Sunday here. And thank you, if you're a visitor with us, thank you for being here. We love your presence. In fact, there's a couple of individuals here from Sun City, Arizona, so glad to see you. Okay. So that's our day. We trust that you've enjoyed your presence here with us today. And each and every one of you that are visitors, we certainly thank you for coming all the way out here to Fort Collins and being with us today. So, as we close our service, we ask if our kids are going to be in. No, there's no young ones. They're doing things out here in the youth wing. So let's all circle up, and we have our peace song and our prayer of protection. So first of all, the prayer of protection.
Jesus, there is peace on earth. Yes, begins with me. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Thank you.